Let's settle for the details now. The Supreme Court's verdict that a deputy speaker can be counted during the formation of a quorum for parliamentary decision-making and participate in voting while presiding over the parliamentary business is courting lots of mixed reactions across the board. The latest person reacting to the ruling is the former President John Dramani Mahama, who in a tweet described the verdict as shocking but not surprising. According to him, a unanimous 7-0, and he's asking a question, shocking but not surprising, an unfortunate interpretation for convenience that sets a dangerous precedent of judicial interference in parliamentary procedure for the future. That he tweeted at 5:31 a.m. today. Well, the minority in Parliament yesterday were blunt in expressing their disappointment. Minority Leader Haruna Dusu addressed the media.
Our attention has just been drawn to a ruling of the Supreme Court on the matter as to whether a person presiding as Speaker, consistent with Article 102 of the 1992 Constitution, which provides for the quorum, and Article 104, can exercise a vote whilst presiding. Our attention has been drawn to a very disappointing ruling of the Supreme Court of Ghana, which more or less amounts to a judicial interference in time-tested parliamentary practice and established conventions everywhere in the world, in civilized democracies, including the United Kingdom. The presiding officer's vote is discounted. So it's not for nothing that Article 102 provides that a person presiding shall have no original nor custom vote. The Supreme Court, to put it aptly, this ruling is judicial support for e-levy, nothing more. Judicial support for e-levy, for a struggling economy in distress, and judicial support for the restoration of a matter that they have said is constitutional, is repugnant to the provisions of Article 102 and 104.
Individual minority MPs, they certainly cannot look on for the Supreme Court's ruling on the matter to be enforced. MP for Ningo Prampram Sam Jatta George shared this on his Twitter page minutes after the ruling. So, and I read the tweet, Abi, we all go day the chamber inside. Come and give the referee the ball to play some letter C. The sweetness of the pudding is in its eating. And he added a lion emoji and the Ghana flag emoji. Sam George has also been speaking on this matter.
For me, I cannot for the life of me be part of what I would deem an illegality, which would be that the person presiding in the House would take part in the vote he's pretending over. And so I do not know what position my leadership would take or my party would take, but my principled position is one that states that anyone presiding, be it Mr. Speaker or any of his two deputies, has absolutely no business taking part in the vote on the floor of the House. And we will employ every legal means within the parliamentary procedure to ensure that this long time tested practice of Parliament, which is 30 years old this year, will be upheld. Until the Lord Justices decide to start expunging parts of the Constitution like 1045 for us to see that the application of the law is not skewed and imbalanced. I do not see why anyone who has a conflict of interest should be allowed to vote. Because 1045 says you have a conflict, do not vote. Why did the Lord Justices go silent on the standing orders of Parliament that say that a chairman of a committee does not have a vote? A chairman of a committee in Parliament does not have an original vote. So why are they not saying that that is also a deprivation of his constituents? I'm suggesting that I will protect the independence of Parliament from any interference by any other arm of government. We have stood up to the executive. We will stand up to any other arm that seeks to interfere. Or I will stand up to any other arm of government that seeks to interfere in the work of Parliament. And I can tell you that I am sure most of my colleagues are of like mind, because this is a dangerous slope. Tomorrow, you would have someone go to court, and then the Supreme Court may also rule and say that they are holding someone criminally liable for comments he made on the floor of the House. This is a Pandora's box we would not and should not open. The last time Joe Wise tried to move from his seat to cast the vote, I was polling agent for the NDC. You remember what happened? My position hasn't changed.
You resisted.
Our anthem enjoins us to resist oppressors' rule.
For the First Deputy Speaker, Joseph Osei-Owusu, the ruling is refreshing.
It was a voice vote, and I did not participate in the voice vote. But I insisted that I be counted as a member of Parliament present to constitute the quorum before a decision was taken. Indeed, this decision affirms that position that I took. I find that very refreshing. Soon after that decision, a former Speaker of Parliament called me, and he said, I called you to congratulate you for being bold to take this decision, because that is how the frontiers of the law are expanded. Matters that have never arisen are now in the fore because of the numbers we have in the chambers. So anytime there is disagreement, as I've said already, I will interpret the rules and the law as I understand it. I encourage people who disagree with me to boldly state their position, and if need be, refer to the appropriate body like the Supreme Court. So I'm very glad that indeed that clarity has been given. But I'm not surprised. The text of the Constitution was very clear, and even Article 1093 was clear that you shall not retain the original vote. Whereas in the case of the Speaker, it said you shall not have either original or casting vote. When it came to the Deputy Speakers, it said you shall not retain the original vote. The natural consequence was that you would have a casting vote. This decision of the Supreme Court appears to affirm that position that was strongly argued. I agreed with, but I just stopped short of making that declaration because I thought if we had to make that declaration, I would have preferred that it would come from the Speaker or the House voting that it should be. But what the Supreme Court has done, in my view, is to clear the way to remove any ambiguities in that respect.
Certainly, ICAO's free parliamentary business does not seem guaranteed following these reactions. Thus, while the minority is definitely unhappy, the majority is super okay. The MPs are lawmakers and must be seen to be abiding by the laws they enact. Now, how justified is their current posturing? Vice President of Imani Africa, Kofi Bentel, has this to say.
I don't agree with the minority. I accept the Supreme Court's ruling, but I don't agree with it. I accept it because it is their proper place to determine these matters. I don't agree with it because they are saying if you become Deputy Speaker and assume extra powers, you should still keep your vote. So that I disagree with. The minority members are seeing the inherent problems that will be caused and the disadvantages that will be visited on them. And that is why they are resisting. And I'm taking pains to pass these issues and separate them. So what I'm saying is, the problem is inherent in the effect of the ruling. So I can understand what the minority is saying. But I disagree with them if they say they are not going to accept. We need to keep our Supreme Court sacrosanct. Let us criticize them. somebody might even go for a review and make good arguments. That is what civilized people do. But we cannot say that when the Supreme Court has ruled, we will say we won't obey it and resort to anarchy. That is wrong. So I expect that somebody should go for a review. And whatever it is, whether the review works or it doesn't work, this is one other reason why we need to get down to this constitutional review issue and deal with it. Our constitution is almost 30 years old. It is breaking at the seams. It is showing its inadequacies. It is time for us to deal with those inadequacies and fashion a better constitution so that we don't end up crashing the Fourth Republic.
Let's get more views on this development, and lawyer Martin Bebu joins us live with more. Good morning, sir, and many thanks for your time.
Good morning. Morning.
Now, first, what do you make of the Supreme Court ruling?
Unfortunately, I don't have comments so far because I've not had the opportunity to read the full judgment. I know as lawyers, once I haven't read the full judgment, I have to be very circumspect. Let me hold judgment. Otherwise, I would say something that would turn out not to be justified upon reading the judgment. Okay. So let's just hold it. And then I'm sure tomorrow, I understand tomorrow the judgment will be ready, the full reasons.
All right. Now, judging from the minority's reactions, one can certainly not sit thinking, all will be well in Parliament after this ruling. No, these are lawmakers and they must be seen as respecters of the law they enact. So how can they be whipped in line to avert further chaos in Parliament?
Okay, so that's the very job that you are doing right now by asking us to offer opinions. And since the members of Parliament are representatives, I hope they listen to that. Just like the previous speaker just stated, we will beg the parliamentarians to accept the decision. And then, after even one of them stated, Honorable Muntaka, is a minority chief whip, he said they would also review it and see how they can go back to the Supreme Court. He said review. The word may not be review, but what he means is that he thinks they can also go to the Supreme Court to persuade the court to look at the case differently. Even if not this particular one, that is to say, starting a fresh action. There are different things. So far, even though you will hear some of the minority members condemning the court, but you will also hear some of them saying that they think the way forward is that they will also go to the Supreme Court to have the Supreme Court hear them. And that is what the rule of law requires of us. That's the least that we can do. So they should consult their lawyers and see what to do so that they can also go back to the court.
All right, so besides consulting their lawyers, what other options are available to them following this development?
Oh, so, no, beyond that, I think in the interim, they have to abide by the decision. And as I've stated, that's how we are discussing this publicly and exhorting them that within the principles of the rule of law, they should abide by the decision while they take steps to go and also get the court to rule in their favor in a different.
All right, thank you very much for your time. That is Martin Bebu, and he is a lawyer, and he's been giving us some of his views on the Supreme's verdict that a deputy speaker can be counted during the formation of a quorum for parliamentary decision making. Let's move on to other stories now, where CEO of the John Agyekum Kufuor Foundation has called for the application of criminal sanctions against public office holders found to have abused their office. Professor Ajiman says persons like former boss of the Public Procurement Authority, Ejinim Boating Ajay, should be prosecuted to serve as deterrents in the fight against corruption. The retired auditor spoke to Love News after presenting some beneficiaries of the Kufuor's Scholars Leadership Mentorship Program to the Asantehene. Erastus Asaridonko has more.
One of the most effective ways of checking corruption is when there's deterrence factor, which is to say, people see that those who get corrupt get the deserved penalties.
Professor Dia Ajiman slammed the practice of public office holders fingered in corruption activities being left off the hook with minor sanctions.
In other countries, you discover that when officials are found to be corrupt, they are immediately sent to the court and they are jailed, including the former president of South Korea. He served her time in jail for corruption. So one of the things to do to deter corruption is to make sure there is punishment, the deserved punishment, when the person is found guilty. I recall the case of this former procurement agency director who was found to have been corrupt, took some money, and been asked simply to refund the money without any penalty. That is not the way to fight corruption. Put the person to face the courts, and if the person deserves imprisonment, so be it. Otherwise, we can never fight this war.
At the just-ended Advocacy Day at the Menchia Palace, Professor Duajiman presented before the Asantehene some 30 tertiary students selected as beneficiaries of this year's John Agyekum Kufuor Scholars Program. The program, initiated by the Kufuor Foundation in 2016, is aimed at mentoring young people in leadership to serve as the country's future change makers.
As they graduate out at the end of the 3-year program, a new one is inducted. So we have 30, and for the past 3 years, we have been graduating 30.
The Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative, CHRI, is calling for reforms in the legal education in Ghana in order to accommodate new reforms in the justice system, including community sentencing. According to the organization, the new reforms in the justice system with respect to community sentencing is to enhance justice delivery in Ghana, thereby reducing congestion in the various prisons across the country. Mausi Numon has the rest of the story in this report.
Speaking at a workshop for civil societies on community service sentencing in Ghana, Director of Programs at the Institute of Human Rights and Democracy in Africa, Edmond Amakwe Foley, said the legal education curriculum needs to be updated to meet modern practice.
I think the legal education in Ghana now needs to embrace some of these new approaches coming up. For lawyers in practice, yes, we have something called continuous legal education, so we have to do that for them. But for those coming on board, the curricula in the law schools will have to change to also look at some of these new approaches to criminal justice delivery in the world now. And as a member of the international community, Ghana also needs to embrace new developments.
Legal practitioner Martin Nwosu spelled out the international standards and best practices on community service sentencing and its implementation.
Talking about the standards, as member country of the United Nations, we have guidance from Rule 8 of the United Nations Standard Minimum Rules for non-custodial measures. The measures there can mean sentencing. Okay, and that particular rule states in part that a judicial authority having at its disposal a range of non-custodial measures should take into consideration in its decision the rehabilitative needs of the offender, the protection of society, and the interest of the victim. So if you're talking about standards, these standards should cover these 3 areas: the interests of the victim, the offender, and the society or community from which the person hails. And it mentions that the nation wanting to do this must have a range of this non-custodial sentencing. So what we are talking about here with regards to community service sentencing is just one of so many other things that can be done by way of non-custodial sentencing.
Parliament is meanwhile yet to pass a community service bill. Mausi Numon report for JoyNews.
Let's do our Living Standard series, and for many young people in the capital, owning a house in this current economy can only remain a wish. We explore the story of a 28-year-old man struggling to complete his 2-bedroom house in Kaswa, owing to hikes in the prices of building materials.
Andrew ya menu kasa mi ko busa cement bo e wo ka so akwan no so o mo 52 Ghana cedi na anu e mesi da to anua
Bible na ma ya ti ase da say there be ewie ye no eni me mu ba ye
Like many other people, Isa Mohammed also dreams of owning his house. He says it is the reason he works so hard. His job description is to load sand into tipper trucks for delivery. This job is intense and energy sapping.
This job needs no training, but neither is it for the faint-hearted. You need to be strong and eat well. So I eat foods like banku and beans to gain enough energy.
Because within seconds,
Under the Malam overpass is where contractors from Kaswa and beyond get sand and stones for building. When I got here, many of the workers were having a quiet and lazy day. They explained that it is because of low patronage in recent times. Isa is one of the lucky ones to get a tip for the day. He badly needs the cash to complete his 2-bedroom housing project in Kaswa. At the moment, the project is on hold due to a hike in the prices of building materials.
I was hoping that I could get building materials at cheaper prices, but the prices keep soaring. I cannot afford materials, so the work on the building has been suspended.
From time to time, he drives commercial buses to augment his wages here, but that has still not made it easy for him to complete the project.
This job drains us. You can work like a bull, but at the end of the day, make pittance.
According to Isa, building a house in this current economy is no joke. Even the cost of carting sand and stones to project sites has more than tripled due to increased fuel prices. General Secretary of the Malam Tipper Drivers Union is Ameyao Ankemo.
Every December last year, that is 250.
The price of a trip of sand last December was 250 cedis. Now the price has jumped to 400 cedis. Aside that, fuel costs 600 cedis. To make a trip of sand, you should be paying 1,000 cedis. Now drivers have been dragged to court because they are unable to meet the sales targets of their masters.
Suppliers are also on the low. For days, orders have diminished, making it almost impossible to keep the business running. One of such suppliers is Kofi. He is leaning on his spiritual beliefs to see him through these challenging times.
As for me, I'm putting my trust in God. Even though we are in a challenging time, I'm trusting God to pull me through. Our first president, Kwame Nkrumah, used to say, "Forward ever, backward never." So we are moving forward.
Forward ever, backward never. Can you know a blow or look cut one and no look up where you can know the cabin look up a blow look at anything. Your candle, Dokuna, your tone 20%. But your
on the other side of town, building material dealers are bracing up for an impending increase in the prices of cement. Boating is the sales manager at a shop here. After spending about 4 hours, he counted only 3 customers.
Price has increased, I think there's an increase of 30% in price. Just in a month now, just 1 month. Let's say iron rods, a ton of iron rods in 3 weeks ago was 4,200. As we are speaking now, it's 5,800. 3 weeks ago. And I think it's a result of the dollar. Because we don't manufacture iron rods in Ghana. Most of the products are imported from outside. I even learned this Friday they will increase cement and they will increase iron rods again. You can come and check next week Monday. I will show you the price.
With the prices of building materials rising steadily, Boating fears some laborers may be laid off to cushion the business.
I am the sales manager here. So if this thing continues, I think there will be a meeting. And when there is a meeting, I think some people will have to be laid down so that you will cut down the numbers so we can reduce expenses.
Following the steady rise in fuel prices, many people, including yourself, have considered other modes of transportation. Electric vehicles have emerged as a viable option, but their high costs may be a disincentive. However, a technology company called Solar Taxi is working on converting your petrol and diesel-powered vehicle to an electric vehicle after a similar effort with motorcycles was successful. Nana Ojima has the rest of the story.
Crude oil prices as at March 9, 2022 stood at $124 from $86 at the beginning of February, representing a 44% rise. Presently, at local pumps, a litre of petrol ranges between 7.70 and 8.29 cedis, depending on the fuel station. The commodity has seen a 21% rise, pushing up transportation fares and prices of commodities on the market.
Why is that delivery service?
I got 5 years.
In your price?
The price.
For over 5 years, Kwesi Osei has operated in the food delivery business, working with many restaurants in Kumasi. Until recently, he could make his delivery for the day with 30 cedis worth of fuel in his motorbike. But the amount spent on fuel has shot up by an additional 6 to 10 cedis.
They say the first and then they did 30 cedis and they delivery from 6 to 8. But I say the only 6 cedis are about Akam. It's a ma petrol no crown, auto crown, and check and just the first one and check. Auto and check. Do any no say 1 gallon. I just say do any no say 10 cedis count and so now they are.
Motorbikes are becoming a common mode of transportation and delivery of goods. Many resort to it as a cheaper transportation alternative. Solar Taxi has been converting these petrol-powered bikes into electric bikes. The chassis of a motorbike is remodeled to accommodate the battery packs, and a motor is put in the back tire of the bike. Arnold Anoche Amwaten is operations manager at Solar Taxi.
The fuel bike usually have their engines and they have other components as well, which will all be taken out. So basically we will strip the fuel bike off most of the important components that makes it a fuel bike, leaving only the chassis or the frame. So what happens is we then bring in the other component that will make that bike an electric bike. So we add the motor, we add the battery packs that we build locally. Then we add the controllers. So the controllers will control the speed at which the bike travels or the motor travels. Then from there we attach a charging port.
It costs less than 10,000 cedis to convert a petrol bike to an electric bike, but costs more to acquire an originally made electric motorbike, with prices ranging between 12,000 and 18,000 cedis.
What happens is because those ones were already built for the fuel bikes, they are already heavy. Do you get it? The chassis and all those things are already heavy. So we add in the battery packs. The battery packs is also already it's also heavy. It weighs around 20 kg. So when we add the battery packs plus the motor, it gives it more stability whenever you are riding.
According to research by the Tech Hub, with 7 cedis worth of electricity, a bike can be powered to run for 150 km per hour. The same distance for petrol bikes will cost at least 35 cedis. Solar Taxi is in the process of converting fuel vehicles to run on electricity. The necessary research has already been completed.
That's why I said in the middle of the year, but latest by, in fact, you give us up to the middle of the year, you should see something.
You've done some work, sorry?
Yeah, we've done all the preliminary works, we've done all our calculations, we've done all our inquiries, we've done all our research. The only thing left now is to put things together.
The success of this project will come as a relief to many, especially those seeking alternatives to the persistent rise in fuel prices. For JoyNews, Nana Ojima reporting.
It is a common feature of auto mechanic shops to indiscriminately park broken down vehicles along the shoulders of streets. And this is a common sight in most parts of the capital, Accra. Most times, these vehicles are abandoned and left to rot under the mercy of the weather. On Joy Clean Ghana campaign this week, officials of the AMA stormed an auto mechanic shop in Koligono in the Ablekuma South sub-metro of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly. There's more in this report.
Today, we are here to work on obstruction. When we talk of obstruction, people who block public way, you can see this is the public way, and this is a fitting shop, and they have decided to use their cars to block the public way, and no car can pass here, which is not supposed to be. They have a garage. I don't understand why they should park outside the garage to block the way. So we are here this morning to ask them why so and the way forward. That is why we are here. So we go into the garage and see the garage owner and ask some questions. Yeah.
I think this is the owner side, the boss.
Daddy, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
My name is Florence. And you?
Yeah, my name is Frank.
Uncle Frank, you are the garage owner, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So Uncle, this is your garage?
Yeah, it's my garage.
But these cars parked here, they are for which people?
They are for customers.
They are for customers. Is this part of your garage?
It's not all the cars which is for us. There are some, the one pass.
Can you show us the cars that are for you? We would like to know the cars that are for you. Just point the cars that are for you.
Just the one here. The one here. This one, and I think this one. And this one. But the rest, the one that parked at the other side is for the split. This thing. And the people in the...
I'm coming. Do you know this is a road? Oh, yeah. Yes or no?
Oh, yeah.
You know this is a road. Yeah. So if you park here and you park here, what are you expecting road users to do?
Oh, this is just temporary. We are coming to remove. We'll remove them very soon.
Do you have I'm coming. Do you have a permit of using this place temporary from the assembly?
Oh,
yes or no?
It's like
yes
it's
or
like
no?
somebody is coming to you.
It's a question. Do you have a permit of using this place as temporary garage?
No, we don't have.
You don't have a permit. So you know it's against the law.
Like I'm saying, not all the cars are for us.
I am just asking, your cars, you have cars here.
Yeah.
Do you have a permit for parking your customers' cars on the road?
No,
yes or no?
Yeah, no.
And you know it's against the rules. You know that. So today, what we are going to do is, we will arrest you for blocking the public way. We will get a towing car to come and tow all these cars to our yard, and we will surcharge you to pay.
All right, let me say one thing. No matter what it is, it has happened. So give us today. We'll remove all the cars by ourselves by the close of today. So you can come around for inspection tomorrow.
Do you know what we'll do? We will arrest you. I'm coming. AMA has been here. So what we will do, Uncle Ben?
When AMA came here, we removed all the cars. But it's like, it varies.
And so you see, so that do you know what we'll do? Varies. I'm coming. Do you know what we'll do? We are arresting you right now. We will put you behind bars. We will bring you out when all these cars are towed from here. Then you will write an undertaking that under no circumstance should you park any customer car to block a public way.
All right.
So that is what we are doing now.
Can I say something?
You can say anything you want.
If you arrest me today,
yes,
who will be in charge to remove all the cars?
You don't worry. We say we will bring a towing car. They will tow all the car. We will surcharge you because listen, AMA. This is not the first time AMA is coming here. AMA task force has been here. They've been here. And you just said that you removed the cars and then you have brought it back again.
No, we haven't brought anything back.
The Metro Health Director, Florence Kuchi, says the indiscriminate parking of yet-to-be-serviced vehicles on the shoulders of the roads is becoming a nuisance and endangering lives. She says the AMA will be clamping down on the menace.
It is becoming a nuisance. If you go around almost the whole of the municipality, most garages have blocked the public way with vehicles. Some don't even have a garage. They use the public way as a garage. And now we are on them. We will ensure that the public way is cleared. Because as public health is concerned, it is our duty to ensure that they do that. And we will make sure that they will not return back. Because after this, we will ask you to write an undertaking. And if you write undertaking and you go and come and we come to meet you again, then it means it is your own cup of tea.
At the end of the exercise, 3 more people were arrested and 2 shops were put under lock and key for breaching some of the sanitation bylaws.
What's happening? Somebody called and is telling us that the place is for him. He was the one who went to the police station to swear that he is going to tow all these cars away. So he is pleading. So if you've been to the police station to go and swear at the police station and you've not done it, how many times will you swear, or which kind of number of swearing will you swear before you remove the things from the roof?
Michael Ashali's report for JoyNews.
And we will ensure that these cars will be towed from here, and we will surcharge them.
In our Ghana series this week, we shine a light on Indigenous Ghanaian dances that you may not know about. Today, we tell you about the pacha, the genre and the dance of the Ga Dangbe people of the Greater Accra region. The dance, which mimics the uneven walk of mythical dwarfs cited by a hunter according to oral tradition, is largely performed at puberty rite events. My colleague Justice Beidou went to see the Ghana Dance Ensemble perform the dance at the University of Ghana here in Accra.
Pacha is a dance among the Dangbes, right? Nugo, Pram, that is Bubula, Ada, yes, and then the Kulu, subcultures. We perform Pacha. And history has it that once upon a time, a hunter, when about his hunting expeditions, he chanced upon mysterious beings who we call dwarf or adupe, and they were performing. These dwarfs or mystic beings, they are not even in their walking. And so their walking is uneven, and so it looks like wobbly, pacha. And something that is wobbly, like a table or a chair that is not stable, that is wobbly, we say that the table or the chair, it's pacha. So they are uneven walking, and their gait came about with the pacha. And the dance is performed unevenly, all right? So when they perform, they move uneven to the right, to the left, okay? They also go down and then hop. So those were the antics that this hunter saw. So it was what he saw that he reported, and then he demonstrated what he saw. And then dance experts and musicians also composed the rhythm to it, and then the dance movement to it, and the whole community bought into it, and they've been performing it for years now. So the song they are singing is Mabotako Matele, right? I would look for a cloth, tie it almost like a headgear, and then I'll carry it. No, what am I carrying? I'm carrying my burden. I'm carrying my aspirations. I'm carrying my challenges. Mabotako Matele, don't talk about, don't be on my case. Don't talk about my challenges. Don't talk about me. It's my burden, so I'll carry my own burden. Another one like Inya Dodo wa Inya Fia Bele Telefo Ajina Blono Lisupe Webele Fominine Ifominine Inyole Fominine Ayu Ajina Blono Lisupe Webele Fominine. So a young lady going to Dodowa, okay, to visit her friend Bele. Okay, so he gets to Ajina Junction, and then there is this gentleman who is waving at her. Ifominine Inyole Fominine Ayu Ajina Blono Lisupe Webele Fominine. You understand? So it's talking about love. I'm going to visit my male friend, and then I get to Ajina Junction, and then there he is. He's waving at me. I also wave back. You understand? So we have all these social issues that are spoken about all in one. And you see that dance is performed by the youth. So these are pieces of advice that are put into the performance for the youth to learn and then be better adults in future.
You're still watching JoyNews Desk. Coming up in business, inflation shoots up to 15.7% in February as a result of significant jump in food prices. Stay with us for more on Business with Daryl.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to Business. My name is Daryl Kwao. Government statistician Professor Samuel Kobnenim is calling for measures to slow down the rate of inflation, which is rising quickly as the war between Russia and Ukraine fuels increases in prices of foodstuff, particularly cereals. Now, inflation hit 15.7% in February due to the significant jump in food prices, partly blamed on supply challenges. There is more in this report.
The Russia-Ukraine war has started hitting hard on economies, and Ghana is not exempted as it receives some supplies from the two countries. The inflation rate of 15.7% recorded in the month of February is the highest since October 2016, which stood at 15.77%. Although food inflation is the major factor for the February figure, non-food inflation also recorded a jump.
This indicates that prices of goods and services over the one-year period have gone up by 15.7%. On a month-on-month basis, that is between January 2022 and February 2022, prices of goods and services went up by 2.4% relative to 2.1% that was recorded between December 2021 and January 2022. Food inflation has regained its dominance over non-food inflation from both a month-on-month perspective and a year-on-year perspective. From a year-on-year perspective, it has regained its dominance by 2.9 percentage points, and on a month-on-month basis, it has regained its dominance by 1.5 percentage points. Housing, water, electricity and gas, transport, and food and non-alcoholic beverages are the 3 divisions out of the 13 divisions that did record inflation figures higher than the national average of 15.7%.
According to the government statistician, multiple policy dimensions can be adopted to halt the rate at which inflation is growing. The rate recorded in the Greater Accra region, which stood at 19.5%, makes it the region with the highest cost of living among the 16 regions of the country.
Greater Accra records the highest rate of inflation for February 2022, specifically 19.5%, and Western region recorded the lowest, 11.6%. The divisions contributing to inflation vary across the region, specifically with non-food and non-food inflation reflecting in Greater Accra region and food inflation reflecting in the regions in the northern part of the country.
The Western region, however, has overtaken the Eastern region to record the lowest inflation rate.
Rapid Wash, a member of the Type group of companies, is expected to change the face of laundry business after launching Ghana's first mobile self-service laundry. The service currently being piloted will see customers accessing fast and convenient service at a much cheaper cost. Chief Executive Officer of Rapid Wash, Kobi Asma, disclosed this after launching the service with Vivo Energy at the Tema Committee 18 Shell Station. Correspondent Kwame Yanka has more.
Revolution is the biggest self-service laundry operator in Europe, with more than 5,000 installations around the world. In Ghana, Rapid Wash is the accredited operator of Revolution laundry equipment, which is fully integrated with high-capacity washers, dryer, and a complete payment terminal. The self-service laundry is designed to respond to the needs of the working class who have little to no time to do their own laundry, yet find conventional laundry very costly. For Rapid Wash, the service also brings relief to large families apart from schools, hostels, factories, hospitals, and apartments which would have dedicated installation at their premises. Chief Executive of Rapid Wash, Kobi Asma, says the company is piloting the service and will be extended to other parts of the country.
We are very sure that it's going to succeed if we are very successful. We know that 6 months we'll roll out another 5. So we have earmarked 5 other stations that we are going to plant the equipment. Well, it's still in Accra. The 5 will be in Accra, but after the 5, we'll roll out another 20, which will take us outside Accra. Specifically, we're looking at Kumasi, Cape Coast, looking at Winneba, Sunyani. So we'll put, and for the out of town, we want to focus on the tertiary institutions. We are going to engage people who are already doing laundry and ensure that the service, the convenience service we are offering to people in Community 18 can be extended beyond the borders of Accra.
Type Group marketing member Nanama Mensah indicates the company has a plan in place to train school leavers, among others, who have interest in laundry.
The last part I'm talking about is the training that we'll be providing to SHS leavers, to graduates, to people laundry person, to be able to train them to set up their own laundries or to provide laundry service to their own catchment areas. So they don't necessarily have to be here to learn, but we'll set up a little training school where we'll train them to pick up their skills in theory and in the practical line.
Meanwhile, Head of Convenience and Non-Fuel Retail of Vivo Energy Ghana, Samuel Buakofi, says the partnership with Rapid Wash brings home convenience mostly experienced in Europe and Americas.
The needs of customers globally and any business that wants to succeed has to be innovative to respond to these changing needs. Today's launch of the first ever revolutionary outdoor laundry machine at Community 18 service station is another testament to our commitment to continue to innovate and also partner with Ghanaian-owned businesses to grow together with our brand.
Rapid Wash would offer a 25% discount for the month of March as it launches its maiden mobile service.
All right, that's it for business. Muftao is up next with sports.
It's time for sports here on your favorite station with your 2 favorite people. Hello, Muftao.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you, Chi?
I'm okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I understand
I like
that.
your glasses.
Thank you very much.
Nice.
It's the glasses I've been wearing the whole week.
I like the lipstick too.
Thank you.
Thank you, elephantly.
Oh.
When you say elephantly, it means that big. Thank you, big.
Thank you, big. Not thank you, small.
No, thank you, bigly.
I see. I understand that Chelsea will now be owned by a Ghanaian.
Well, the Ghanaian says he's bidding $3.1 billion for it, which is about 2.3 billion pounds.
And how much are they selling it for? They're selling
less billion. So
okay.
His bid is 2.3 billion. It means that his bid is not even up to the asking price.
Oh no, then okay.
And even reports say that he's not even worth $1 billion in the country.
You don't know that.
They say, that's what I said. Report.
Okay, they don't know that.
Okay.
So what do they say? What do they say? They say that he's not.
He's not even worth $1 billion.
Well, maybe.
Enough
What's
of that.
happening in Chelsea?
But even the sale of that club is on hold at the moment.
Yes, I understand.
It's on hold because the Chelsea owner, Roman Abramovich, his properties have been frozen in the UK. It includes Chelsea FC.
Oh, wow.
It is Roman and 7 others they think that has close associates with Putin, Vladimir Putin. They claim that the invasion of Ukraine is a vicious attack on the sovereignty and integrity of Ukraine. And the people of UK are committed to supporting Ukraine, standing with Ukraine. and they've said that if anyone has any close relations with Roman Abramovich, or Vladimir Putin rather, so all your properties have been frozen. What it means is that as we speak, if you're a Chelsea player and your contract is running out, the club cannot continue with any form of negotiations to have the contract extended. If Chelsea wants to sign a player, Chelsea can no longer do business. What it also means is that you and I cannot go and watch Chelsea matches unless you're a season ticket holder. So at this point, everything about Chelsea has come to a standstill because the club can no longer do business. So per the regulations of the UK, if they decide to sanction you, what it means is that if you are someone who is domiciled in the UK, you cannot do business with anyone within UK or outside the UK. So as we speak, Roman cannot do any business within the UK. All his properties, all his accounts, everything in the UK have been frozen. Again, what it also means is that Roman cannot, already we knew this, he cannot travel into the UK.
That one I know.
Even long ago when he wanted to get into the UK, he had to pass through Israel to get Israeli passport so that he become an Israeli national before he could come to the UK once in a while to watch Chelsea matches. Now, everything about him has been seized. Everything about him shows that everything he wants to do within the UK is off. His properties, he has a £125 million mansion in the UK. That's everything, all his businesses have been frozen. And the reason they are saying is that he's the majority shareholder of some companies that are supporting the Russian invasion of Ukraine. They are supplying them with financial backing for them to go and invade Ukraine. So the UK government says that they are sanctioning him and 6 other people, making it 7.
Okay. All right, and that's how we end JoyNews desk. For more news, you can log on to my JoyOnline.com. My name is Mapisa CBD.
You didn't add and read some more.
I said you can go to my JoyOnline.com.
And read some more sports stories.
Okay, that's it. Bye.